Hi, this is Brian Zeke. I'm founder of Surf City Financial Group. And we're going to take you, in this webinar today, we're going to take you through and show you the 3 little known secrets for creating a secure financial future without taking any additional risk. We have quite a bit to cover here, so why don't we go ahead and get started. In this training, you're going to discover number 1, the 4 most important financial questions everyone who is serious about their financial future really should know. We're also going to show you how to increase your return on investment without increasing your risk. And finally, how to rate those financial alternatives out there to select the perfect savings vehicles for you. Because we know there's a lot of financial vehicles out there, but how do you actually choose a financial vehicle? What are you looking for? Well, let's start out with those 4 important financial questions that everyone should know. Number 1, what rate of return do you have to earn on your saved investment dollars to be able to retire at your current standard of living without having your, to have your money last through your life expectancy, in other words, to the rest of your life? Number 2, how much do you need to save on a monthly or annual basis to be able to retire at your current standard of living and have your money last to life expectancy? 3, doing what you're currently doing, how long will you have to work for your money to last you the rest of your life? And finally, if you don't do anything different you're doing today, you make no changes at all, how much will you have to reduce your standard of living at retirement to last your life expectancy? We like our clients at least to be able to enjoy their current life expectancy in retirement when they actually have time to enjoy themselves. Okay, let's take you through a bit of a case study here. And I find this to be a fairly ordinary case, not unusual. Because you got Mary and John here, ages 56 and 57. They're currently earning about $202,000 a month. They have Social Security. Mary, at her full Social Security retirement age, which would be age 67, would receive about $2,733 a month. John, at his full retirement age, $2,450 a month. Now they're currently saving about $15,000 a month. They've been able to save about $556,000 in 401k money. They also have an IRA worth about $39,000. They've also saved, they have a mutual fund account, and they've saved about $105,000 in that account. Now they're saying they're enjoying a rate of return of about 7% on their investments, and they plan on being a little more conservative in retirement, trying to earn about 5%. And they want to retire at age 66. So there's our case study. Now let's take a look at those case study results. How we run the calculations, how will it work out for them? Okay, now we're seeing here, there's their 7% rate of return, their savings, when they want to retire, their, basically what they're saving and inflation. Now we've seen, based off these numbers, they would have accumulated about $1.6 million, and a nice chunk of money. But if you add in inflation, that $130,000 that they're currently living on would have to be more like $175,000, almost $176,000 a month that they would have to begin withdrawing out of their account to live their current lifestyle. And you're seeing there that they basically ran out of money at age 70. Their last year, which they didn't have a full year, but their last fully good year was 74, and then next thing you know, all they have left is Social Security, $54,000. That's quite a big drop, so I hope they had a lot of fun here. But based off these numbers, they obviously hit the wall and didn't make it. So now what you're seeing up here is the different adjustments, and you're going to see on our calculator, because we're going to pull our calculator up and show you how we run this calculation of what it looks like. And again, there's the 106,000, they ran out of money, and whatever changes we make, you're going to see here. So let's take a look at our calculator. So again, here's our inputs: John and Mary, age 56, retirement age 66. They do have a life expectancy of about 90, and that's very common for couples these days to make it to about 90. We see that couples, statistically speaking, do last longer. Now here's their current income, about $202,000. They've accumulated about $700,000 to now. They're putting away that $15,000. Here's their rate of return they're enjoying. There's their distribution rate of return. Their taxes, 30% tax rate. Inflation at 3%. We've plugged in their Social Security. And we're seeing that their current lifestyle, they're actually living on just a tick over $130,000. Now we're going to apply a little bit of a COLA to that, so we can see what dollars, as I showed you, that they'd have to be living on in the future. So let's take a look at our calculator. Again, here's our numbers, right? They're $15,000 a year, they want to retire, and so on and so forth. So let's start out, and you're going to see the changes on this side of the screen. So let's say we increase that rate of return. Let's calculate what they would be required to earn on their current savings and their current savings rate to actually have their money last to full retirement. They would have to get an additional over 10% rate of return. Now, that's a tough one. They would have to earn 17%, almost 17.5% every single year without taking a loss, and continue saving that $15,000 to age 66 to actually make their money last. But it does last, as you see here. You see here that this is where they kind of hit the wall. This is age 90. But they made it to the full retirement. So, but that's a tough lift, $17,000 a year. We know that's probably not terribly realistic to earn that year after year after year. So now the other thing they can do is put more money away. What if we save more? What would we need to save? Yeah, they would have to save $12,000 a month or $153,000 a year. But if you remember, they were living on $130,000, so this might be tough too. May not be. You may be talking about second jobs to try to do that, which I'm sure is not terribly appetizing either. They could work longer, right? If they have the kind of jobs that allow them to continue to work, they could do that. So you're looking at an additional 10 years of work. They'd have to work to age 76. And again, that you'd see there that they'd have $3.5 million, right? And but again, probably not what they would have in mind to work another 10 years. Spend less. Yeah, they could reduce their lifestyle. What would they have to reduce their lifestyle? They would have to cut it in half, basically. They'd have to reduce their lifestyle by 40, almost 46%. You're seeing here what we would like would be 170, almost 176. What they would end up having to live on is more like $95,000. But their money would last. Their money would last. You can see here, and age 90, they'd be at $194,000 here, and then back to Social Security. Probably not what they had in mind, and certainly not what we have in mind for our clients. So that's how Calculator works. These are the answers for this couple. Now, there are things we can definitely do. to try to fix this problem. So let's move on then, because that basically is answering our questions for us. Okay. Okay. Now let's talk about one of the ways we can actually fix this problem for folks like this. And one is to how to increase your return on investment without taking any additional risk. Because one thing we know, the average American family saves only about 4% on every dollar earned, and they spend an additional 90, the other 96. And most financial advisors, that's where they'll go. They'll say you got to get you a better rate of return. We take a different approach. And we analyze every dollar, every place you're putting your money, and because we specialize in finding areas of spending that are creating what we call wealth transfers that you may not even be aware of. Now let's do the math on that. So let's assume you're earning $100,000 a year and you save about 4% and make about 5% return on your savings. That equals about $200 in investment returns. So if we can help you find just an additional 2% on your earnings in hidden wealth transfers, that would save you about $1,920 more a year. That would increase your rate of return on your existing savings from 5 to 48% without taking any additional risk. So how do we do that? Well, let's take a look here. Let's move down from our calculator here and let's take a look at those transferred dollars. So we know that if you're making $100,000 a year and you're saving 4%, you're saving 4% of that, that would be $4,000, right? And if you're making a 5% rate of return on that, that means that's 4,000. They'd be okay if they were to save 40. But let's say $4,000 in rate of return. So that means there's that 2%, and their annual expenses are $96,000. In other words, that's what they're living on. Now, if we're able to reduce expenses, in other words, go through those those possible wealth transfers, and find an additional, just find 2% in savings someplace. In other words, we go through things and we're able to find 2% that we're able to save them and put them back into savings and earn that 5%. That would give them, just finding the 2% would also give them additional $1,920 in savings, which equates to about a 48% rate of return, just by finding 2% and putting it back into that earnings of 5%, which equates to 48%, and is proven by 40% of $4,000 is $1,920. So this is what we do, and this is what we specialize in, trying to go in and find dollars you may be giving away unknowingly and unnecessarily. So that is definitely to us, that is sort of the answer to this thing. And where we find those hidden wealth transfers, we find them in taxes on compounding returns of taxable accounts. We also look at term insurance premiums, interest on credit cards, loans, leases, capital expenditures, things like that. declining tax deductions on prepaying mortgage principal. We see that one a lot. Future tax liabilities on earnings from what you've put into your qualified plans. In other words, every dollar you put in a qualified plan and pre-tax is going to be taxed later on at what tax rate. So these are some of the areas we look for. Now let's take a look at what some of those wealth transfers are and what that would look like. Now here's all you see the term insurance. These are major wealth transfers that we look for. Let's take a look at like auto insurance, for instance. Because let's say you got a $30,000 car, right? And let's say a deductible on a $30,000 car is $250 versus $1,000. You can so choose. So meaning if you took the $1,000 deductible, your premium might be $1,200 versus $2,000, and we know that 6.67. This would be 6.67% of the value of the car, and this would be 4% of the value of the car. So meaning we're spending less money on the value of the car. Now, if you're age 45 and between age 45 and 65, that would actually be a difference in annual premium, obviously $800 a year. And if we're able to do that, the opportunity cost on that would be the difference would be $27,775. That's the future value, the difference in premiums of $800 compounded at an opportunity cost of 5% for 20 years. So if we're able to reduce that and save that $800, that would turn into $27,000. Earnings on that alone would be $27,000. Okay, let's take a look at credit cards. That's one we do find quite a bit. And to me, this is kind of mind-boggling, because if you carry a credit card balance of $10,000 and that interest on that card was 18%, and your investment rate of return, now if you take a look at this, just 3 years of that, just 3 years would be $5,915 in interest you would pay. That's just interest alone. But if we've been able to save that, you've been able to invest that, if we're able to get rid of these credit cards, that's $6,216 you would earn on those invested dollars that you would have been giving away the credit card number. And here's a credit card would have earned almost $7,000. So very important. This is one that we run into a lot. And again, as you see, there's several of them. I mean, we look at homeowners insurance, everything else. I mean, some of these there's a cost to all this stuff, and even term insurance. There's a decreasing value to term insurance. Not that it's not a valuable tool, but you don't overpay for it. You got to be smart about life insurance too. So these are your wealth transfers that we will absolutely go look at. So, and that's typically where we find a lot of it. Mortgage insurance, mortgages themselves, 401k contributions, I can go on and on and on. So, so these are the places we will go to look for those savings. Okay. Now we're going to talk about how do we rate your financial alternatives. In other words, when we're looking at financial vehicles, how are we going to rate them? What are we looking for? So, benefit savings account, what do we want? Well, we want tax deferred growth. Isn't that something we all like? We like our money to grow tax deferred. In other words, because when you're taking your money out of a taxable account, you're paying taxes along the way. And if you were to ever imagine taking the money out of that account, if you were to pay taxes, obviously it wouldn't grow as much. So tax for growth and not being taxed on it as it grows. Tax-free distribution, I think we all could get behind that. Because that would obviously be pretty valuable dollars in retirement. We all want a competitive rate of return. There's no doubt about that. High contributions. When you find that perfect financial vehicle, wouldn't you like to put as much money as possible into that thing? If we did find the a vehicle that we really felt was working for us, that was giving us all the attributes we want. Any additional benefits? Let's say you became disabled. What if you could actually keep making those payments through disability, even if you're disabled, not able to work? That would be a nice benefit. Collateral opportunities. Say we've been able to amass a bunch of money in this thing rather than withdrawing it. So say we had something go wrong in our world, or we had some sort of opportunity or some sort of expense. Wouldn't it be nice if we were able to collateralize that vehicle, just like you do your house, right? How many people out there, when they need money for remodels or whatever the case may be, they actually will go borrow money against their equity in their home, and that's collateralizing. So we think that's a great thing. If you can leave your investment alone and just borrow against it, and if your investment's growing, we want to leave that alone if we can. Safe harbor. In other words, if we get sued, when we want that money to be protected. No loss provision. In other words, say the stock market took a big drop, isn't it kind of cool if we if that account didn't lose money as well? If we could protect ourselves from those stock market losses. Guaranteed loan options. Well, if you have that collateral opportunity, wouldn't you like that where it's guaranteed? Because we know, going back to the equity line on your house, it's not guaranteed. They can even take those away from you. In other words, there's no guarantees that you're going to be able to borrow that money against. Get that. Wouldn't it be nice if your financial vehicle had that option? Unstructured loan payments. Okay, in other words, now say we have that collateral opportunity, we have that guaranteed loan option. What if we had the opportunity to pay that back when and if we wanted to? What if we got to decide when to put that, how to put that money back, when to put that money back, and if we put that money back, if we paid that loan back? Wouldn't that be nice? Liquidity, use, and control. In other words, we can get to that money whenever we want to. We have something come up that we need that money or want that money. Having control and absolutely use of that money. And deductible contributions. In other words, you're putting your money in there and you're taking a deduction on the contributions. Yeah, I think we like that. We know, like in the 401k we're in, that's trouble. And let's take a look at that. And so these are, we'll take a look at that. But these are our, isn't this what we're all looking for? These would be good benefits. So. Okay, now, of all these benefits, sorry about that hiccup, here's an example of qualified plans, because I use qualified plans as an example because this is the most widely used saving vehicle for retirement out there. Is IRAs, 401ks, and things like this. So what do you get in your qualified plan, the most highly used, the most frequently used financial vehicle out there? Well, of those 12 benefits that we really liked, what do qualified plans actually offer us? What do we get out of those 401ks, IRAs, and such? Well, here's your benefits in your 401k, for instance. You do get tax-deferred growth. In other words, your money's growing, you're not being taxed as it's growing. You typically get a competitive return. 401ks are protected against lawsuits. And when you put your money in, that is your deductible contributions. Now, some 401ks do offer a loan option, but that's a whole nother story. So you sometimes, in some circumstances, you can borrow against that. You can't collateralize that. But the rest of that story is for another time. So let's recap what we covered. Now, we did go over the 4 most important financial questions everyone who's serious really should know. We also showed you how you can increase your return on investment and how to rate those. What are those benefits we're looking for in a financial vehicle? We covered that as well. Now, how you can learn this and how we can help you figure all this out is our financial accelerator will help you complete our signature 6-step system so you can get clear about 3 things: where we are now, where you want to be, and the exact steps to close any gap you might have in your plan. And our course is a 6-week online financial education program for creating a secure retirement. In other words, we have a step-by-step process, 6 weeks online process that we'll take you through. And here's our 6-step process. We're going to discuss your financial goals. We're going to, that's when we connect and demonstrate our unique approach. We'll take you through a whole process to show you what we actually will do. Step 2, we'll gather and review your current financial situation. Step 3, we're going to identify and educate on areas creating wealth that are creating wealth transfers. Wealth transfers can include taxes on compounding returns in a taxable account, term insurance premiums, interest on credit cards, auto loans, leases, declining tax deductions on prepaying mortgage principal, or basically where you're at with your mortgage, future tax liability on earnings from contributed qualified plans, and so on. We'll go through all that stuff. Step 4, we're gonna learn how much we need to save in investment trade-offs and how to be tax efficient. In other words, what kind of changes do we need to make in your financial situation? And we'll go through all that with you and implementing. And once we make some discoveries and make some recommendations, what do we need to do to implement all this? And finally, review. We are strong believers in doing reviews. We like to review at least once a month, and of course we're always around to answer questions and to make sure you're staying on track. So that's basically our 6-step signature program that we will take you through. Now, here's what you'll also get. You get 6 on-demand core modules. These modules are delivered inside of our private members area. Financial implementation checklist. This checklist basically outlines your homework. In other words, what's your action plans? What do you have to do in these programs each week? A one-on-one coaching session. So we will be meeting either virtual or in person to help you to know your goals and to educate you on various financial strategies. And we'll also deliver that retirement ready or not report, answering those 4 important questions that we discussed. And that'll be that customized financial illustration of wealth report we will also deliver to you. Plus these bonuses. We'll throw in a few other goodies. Cersei Financial Organization. In other words, someplace where you can actually record all your data that we'll also have to be able to go through everything. A monthly budget tracker. Well, we find this to be useful. Help you analyze the current spending habits, identify possible places you might reduce expenses. Client communication profile. This is a little 10-minute online assessment you and your partner will do so you can learn how to better communicate and also how I can and we can better communicate with you. And our Surf City Wealth Strategy video library. This video library has various financial topics, including how your money flows, mortgages, qualified plans, life insurance, and much, much more that we're going to take you through. Plus some bonuses. Wealth building guides. We have our little learn the top wealth building strategies. That's the guide we have. We'll supply you with. Tax resources. You'll get an instant access to the taxes, access to the below tax resources, tax calendar, tax forms, full set download forms from the IRS, list of all the important dates, a full set of downloadable publications from the IRS, tax rates, tables enable you to find your federal marginal income tax rate. And this is kind of a value about $4,000 because there's a lot of good information here we've taken time to compile. So, and all you need to do to kind of kick this into motion and get all that information. And we do have limited seats available. There's so many people we can work with on a monthly basis or take through this at a given period of time. But to do this, to get started, is just go to www.surfcityfinancialaccelerator.com. If you go there and apply for our free scholarship, because we do offer a free scholarship, we are trying to show that invite people in who can really take advantage of this. So, but we'll feel free to contact us, and there'll be a couple different ways you can apply online. So we look forward to working with you. We think you're going to find this incredibly useful. Most of our clients do find that this is a very valuable approach, and they find it very valuable what we've been able to teach them. So we absolutely look forward to working with you. So please go in there and apply for that scholarship, and we'll see you when you're inside in your membership area. Thank you very much.